During the late 50s, early 60s, there was a transition with hair. We'd seen a lot of lift coming through in the 50s, and that translated a lot to the 60s, as we know from some of our other video looks, with a lot of backcombing. And you got to use rollers for that height. You've got to be able to get that lift in there to be able to get that look. The look we're going to do today on long hair is actually like an in-between look. It could be worn for the day or for the evening. And what I'm going to do is do this actually without rollers, because it's got a smoothness to it. So I'm going to take the hair and I'm going to lift it to the top of the head. So I'm pulling virtually the whole thing up. I'm using my Denman brush to start with, because obviously, you know, pulling hair up at an angle it's not used to, there can be some knots. So I just want to make sure that I'm not pulling the hair too much, not being too cruel. And I'm pulling this whole thing up out of the way, as you can see, trying to get the whole thing as smooth as possible. Now we are going to elasticate this. Again, as I've always said in the videos, it's your choice. If you like to wrap elastic round, if you want to use a bungee elastic with a hook and do it that way, if you want to use a regular elastic, you know, that's non-slip and not going to tear at the hair, then again, that's good too. So I'm going to get the hair together, and I'm working it just bit by bit to make sure that I get it nice and smooth. This is something that would be done as we are here without a fringe in it. It would alter the look, because it's quite an austere, quite a strong sort of look that I'm doing. Actually, I'll use a coloured elastic and then you can just see how high up this is. So I'm going to feed the hair through, just pull it together, lifting up, and then I'll just pop a little spray over this, just so I can keep it nice and smooth as I work through. Now, the reason there's no rollers in this is because I'm going to work the shape directly from the hair I've got. I did have a long front area, not a fringe as such. It would have been maybe at one time, but it's grown out. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that and I'm just going to backcomb this up. So I'm backcombing into the root, and I want to lift this out. So I am backcombing, as you can see, into a bit of the length, and we've spoken about this before. When you're creating only height, it's into the root. When you're wanting to create volume, then it can be into the actual length of the hair as well. So there we are, filling this hair out. This sort of look could be transformed into an evening look quite easily with a few rhinestones, or it could be kept as a day look. You know, the woman executive or the woman in her Chanel suit that wanted to be noticed. Very confident sort of look, especially when you're scraping or pulling hair back. It normally says a lot about someone's confidence because they're showing their whole face off. You're saying, here I am. Okay, so we're getting a nice lot of volume into this. And I'm just working this through right the way until we run out of the hair that's in the ponytail. So I'm just about there now. Now I've got a lot of volume into this hair, so I shall use a little spray. And now with my boar's bristle brush, as always, I'm just smoothing over the outside edge of this shape. So smooth, smooth. And that's the nice thing, this is a very smooth look, so as long as the hair is fairly flat and smooth to start with, you don't need to roll it. Now, could this be done with a set of curls on the top? Absolutely. And then you would obviously take your ponytail, put it in, and then roll. I would suggest that, now that we're actually on the subject, to get the ponytail up, then put the rollers in, because then you keep the smoothness around the outside. Otherwise, if you curl first, then try and bring it up, you're going to have to pull the resistance of the wave that you've already put in out. So why make work for yourself? It's much easier to do it this way. Okay, so we're smoothing over, and obviously my ends are going to be uneven, and what I mean by that is I've got layers and things here, but that's okay because we're actually going to get those out the way in a minute. Another little spray, and then back to my tail comb. So now what I'm doing is I've got this hair smooth. I'm going to turn it in my hand. Okay, I've got a smooth edge here. Think of it as a roll of material, a flat piece of plastic, whatever. Think of this as a single surface. One end here, one end here. So this is my flat surface. I'm going to turn it around, okay? And then I'm going to hold it with my hand and I'm going to bring it up. Use your hands, as I've said before, almost like you're working with dough or something you're molding. That's what you're doing with hair. When you're putting hair up, you're molding it. So I've got my surface flat. Now I'm going to come around with this hair and I'm laying it across the front. Okay? I'm laying it across the front and I'm tucking all those ends out the way. My finger goes into the middle like a potter's wheel. You're coming around. Anything that's layered around here, I'm smoothing out. And I'm just looking at my shape to the front. So, as I do that, I can now grab my hair pins. This is a choice. If you want to use bobby pins, you can. I find they're bulkier. Obviously, the end of a hair pin is finer and the pin itself is finer, so you don't get the bulk. And again, as I've mentioned again in a couple of videos, they're beginning to bring these out where they're matte. Much better. When you've got shine on the end of a pin, it can stand out. So this way it doesn't have to. I'm going to draw down and I'm pushing my pin into the shape. I'm going to get another pin and push it into the shape. Now I'm going to come around, let go of the center as long as I know it's holding, and I'm going to comb this down. Comb it down, give myself a little spray, and bring this around. So now I've combed it, I'm bringing this around. All my back is nice and smooth. Keep both ends, remember this is one end, this is the other. So I'm just going to come up to the top again. I can see that I've got a little bit, you see that little bit that wasn't smooth? Comb that down, get that smooth. Okay, bring that around. And I'm going to come around to the other side. And again, now I'm going to start putting a couple of pins in. That one's the wrong color, so I'm going to take that out. To me, it's got that real sort of late 50s, early 60s air hostess look to it. You know, you think she's going to take you on some journey somewhere. All these ends, look, they're all odd. None of them blend. They're not even. But as soon as I bring them around into the shape that I created, I can mold them as we have with our pot and bring them down. Now look, something else you could do here. You could bring this down into a false fringe. You could bring this down and you could comb this over and have a fringe area. But I'm really wanting to create that really sleek sort of feeling to this. So again, I'm bringing everything up and pinning as I go so that all my ends are out of the way. Let's bring that around. Get ourselves some more pins. Now, would I put some bobby pins in at this stage? Absolutely. If you feel it's not holding, or you know, say you're in a windy city and it's going to move around, or this person's going out with a wind machine, or etc., then, you know, use the equipment, the pins, or whatever you need to hold that in place. I mean, it's exactly what would have been done at the time, and so you want to make sure you do that now. The idea, obviously, if anything's being done like this, is that it's going to hold its shape. At the time, if someone was going out, she most probably would have had a triangle or a square scarf which she folded in half and put over the top, tied under her chin. Be really tall and high, you know, crazy, but very acceptable for the time because it was the look. So keep adjusting, looking at your shape. I mean, when you consider we moved from a ponytail fairly quickly, smoothing the edges, back combing, and then lifting this round, you're not looking at a lot of time. And again, as we've said, especially if you're on set for something, or you're doing extras, or for whatever reason you might be doing this, you can knock a lot of these looks out with variation quite quickly. This could be curls on the top, this could be a ponytail that's S-shaped and tucked in, which is one of our other looks on the top, or you could continue with this sort of thing that we're doing here. So you've got time to really just work on that finish. Could you put a comb, could you put a clip in this? Could you dress it up with some rhinestones or something? Absolutely. Great for a little evening out. You can imagine this with a really strong eyeliner, which would have been done at the time. You could, if this is going to move and you're worried, use a fine net and pop a net over the top, and that will hold everything in place as well, if it's necessary. The finer, the better, because obviously then you're not going to see it at all. It's just going to blend in. These things are all extras which you can do just to make sure that your shape is holding. Once I have everything in place, then I will finish with a bit of shine on the hair to just add a little glamour and that healthy glow to the hair. And so again, as I'm studying and checking and making sure my shape is working, remember the direction you've worked in. Don't see something and pull, because you're going to knock the whole thing out. Hair moves in one direction, it needs to stay in that one direction once you started moving. There you have it. Okay, so doesn't have to be rocket science to get a good look. Some of the looks we're doing, obviously for periods, take some time to do. Will it take a little bit of getting used to if you're not used to backcombing and filling a shape out? Absolutely. But you can see from an easy ponytail to the top of the head, you can create a great deal of volume and a fabulous shape. And this can be varied, as we will see in other videos to come. Into different methods and different waves and curls. But it's a great look. I think it's quite striking. As I say, with the right makeup, she could whisk you off to anywhere. You've got a confidence with this sort of look. So hope you like it.